Hello and welcome back to another Bitcoin update video. Today I want to focus on just trend lines alone, and perhaps I'll do that each video update after this. We'll discuss another topic or another kind of analysis style. But let's get straight into it. Let's hide the channel for a minute. Let's hide that. And let's talk about trends. So trend lines, unlike support resistance lines, are lines that connect the pivot points. So what do I mean by that? I mean, let's grab this pivot, the all-time high pivot point, and line it up with, as best we can, all of the following pivots after that. And that gives us a trend, somewhat of a trend. Now, resistance, what causes resistance? Selling. What color is selling? Red. So let's make these lines red, the resistance lines red. I'll make this one quite bold because it's a daily resistance level. And we'll lock that in place for now. Let's do another trend. Let's do a support trend on the daily. And we've got one coming down this way, kind of like this. Notice how we recently wicked through this trend line. So support, what causes support? And that is buying, so we'll make it green. Let's lock that in. So now we've got support and resistance on the daily chart, according to trend lines, so trend lines. So that is the daily. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's break it down further. So let's reset the view. Okay, so you can probably see some trend lines in here too. I can see a support line over here, which has since been broken. Have you noticed that? I'm sure you've noticed that. But yeah, we had some kind of a trend like this going up. I'll make it a little less bold. Now, since it's been broken, maybe I'll dash the line. Let's go 2. Okay. So you can see this trend line's been broken. This one hasn't. Now this line here came up over the top like this, I would argue. Has not been broken. Let's make it solid. Let's make it red as it's a resistance. And that's coming up and picking up all the highs. That was, look what we just drew, a rising wedge. That was a rising wedge. It broke down textbook breakdown. Do we have any trends forming from a resistance standpoint in like the current situation, the current price situation? I would say yes, and we've just sort of started to perhaps break out from that trend. Now this, mind you, this one only has 2 touches. It's not incredibly significant, and just lock that in. However, let's break it. Let's break the line down to depict that trend line has been broken. Now, let's go down to the hourly chart, and we'll see if there's any like trend lines that are, producing support or resistance at the moment too. Now, I'll just quickly, while they're staring at me in the face, let's do a couple more. Let's just do these. That was like a 3 touch, which hasn't been broken. Support on the downtrend, bouncing off the macro, like the bigger, see the thicker green line, bouncing off a thicker support line. So, and the resistance side, of course, eventually did break as well. That was like a declining or expanding, a falling, broadening wedge, if you will. That was resistance. Everything top side's red, everything bottom side's green. Here was another green one. Like, I could honestly, you could just go back through the entire price history of Bitcoin and do this. You know, where do supports and resistances live. There's been a couple of rising type wedge type scenarios in the price action lately, if you've noticed that. This one broke down early. This one took a bit longer, perhaps. There wasn't really a clean support trend going on for this. Maybe there was, like on a smaller time frame here, which broke. It eventually broke. Let's just depict that there like that. So that broke down, created a big mess. Okay, enough rambling with the 4-hour chart. Let's go down to the 1 hour and let's zoom in. This is what we got at the moment with Bitcoin. Can we see any trends? And yes, there is a support line here, something like this. It hasn't been broken yet. It's actually launched a lot higher. It didn't actually come and get in touch with this line. Perhaps the line needs to come up this way. See, I don't like to chop off too much activity, price action. You try to find a balance. If not, use as many points as possible to keep it, consistent. Top side, I think there's definitely a trend line that has not been broken yet. Something like this. That's nice and clean, if you notice that. There's a lot of touches right on the line, so that helps. So we'll make that red as well. Let's change it down to 1 pixel thickness, because it's not as significant as the higher time frame trends. But they are there. Now, you can even, look, I'll boil this right down. We're on the hour chart. There's still the 15, the 5, and the 1 minute charts to go. But we'll see. Let's see if there's any other trends, sub-trends within the trends. And yeah, there probably is. There's, let's skip the 15. Let's go to the 5 minute. And yes, you can see within these trends, there are smaller trends. Like right now, there's like some kind of a pennant formation going, like this. You know, it's maybe the bottom side's not so clean, but yeah, I would suggest it looks something like that. You've got some kind of a bull pennant going. Now, is that gonna be enough to shoot us through the $60,000 line? You know, here's 60,000 where the blue line is. We've got to get above not only 60K, but we also have to get through this trend line, this red trend line, which is gonna cause resistance as well, I think. But that doesn't mean we can't get through it. It's gonna be a challenge. So I would think it's possibly more likely, not saying that it will, but it's more likely that you're gonna get some kind of a rejection either here or up here. It's gonna cause some kind of bounce, and we may even travel down to go and test our support line that we found on the higher time frame. So that is pretty much what I'm seeing here with trend lines. Let's go down to the 1 minute chart, because you can even find trends on the 1 minute. Let's zoom out a little. Just hit reset. Okay. So even on the 1 minute, you can see little trend lines. There's, top side, resistance. Let's make these dotted lines, because this is 1 minute trend lines, very small. So this one's a little bit messy, but I'd have to chop that wick off to make it make sense with the majority, basically. You're just trying to get majority touches on the line. And then obviously there was a support line. That was a very sharp wedge coming up. Something like that. And then you also had support over here, which never actually broke. You got also resistance, which did break. It broke it broke through here, and then now we're starting to build a new trend, like a new a new pattern, I would say. So this maybe is coming up like this. We need more data. We need more data to see like where this is going and what it's going to build. But see, the 1 minute chart, it's very sporadic. Like it changes direction quite often, which is why if you're intraday scalping, you can trade, you know, long and short, all within the stretch of a day. So yeah, that's pretty much trend lines, guys. This is how I've been finding what's been going on with Bitcoin right now. So let's zoom back out. Let's go to the hourly. So we're dealing with a rising wedge on Bitcoin. Rising wedge is a textbook bearish pattern, which means if the textbook had anything to say, it would say that it would do this and maybe even drop out either here or even bounce, come up again and get rejected and then drop out later. But yeah, that's trend lines, guys. Let's go for the very last thought. I know I've gone on for about 11 minutes already. I will wrap this up as my last thought. Let's go to the weekly time frame. Let's zoom out to the weekly and see if there are any trend lines. Let me hide all of these trend lines that we've locked in now. These are all the new ones. So you can just highlight them and hit hide, and it'll hide all of the lines that you just drew. I'll hide my levels and my key levels that I've drawn up. And then also the 2 text notes, I'll hide those. Let's go full screen. And is there a trend line? Maybe this can be for my next video, because this video is getting a bit long. But I think in the next video, we'll explore the macro trends that are going on. Because, you know, there may be a few. There was, you know, here's the COVID drop. There was connections running, you know, from all different pivot points. I think this one was a more famous one, this trend line here. And then there's the argument as to how you view it. Do you go logarithmic or linear? Because I think logarithmically, this became a trend that got broken down. Something like that. See how I'm just trying to get as many touches with the pivots as possible to make sense of the price action. So even back here, there would have been a trend line as well. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Let me wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And I'll see you in the next video. And by the way, shout out to Jeru. He's given me a whole bunch of free music to use on my streams. Appreciate that, Jeru. You're a creative master. So thank you. And thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.